good evening. Just trying out a new product. It's for people who are afraid to face reality, for the man who has everything and can't stand to look at it. We're doing a very brisk business. One of the appeals of the box is its anonymity, but inside our boxes are some very important people, several heads of state. At a very modest additional cost, we have this popular attachment. You will observe there are no eye holes. It is for those people who buy one of these and then find they cannot face the reality of the inside of the box. As you can see, we have boxes to fit any size or shape of head or problem. All this has nothing to do with tonight's story, One of the Family, which begins after the following commercial, and that is 1 minute of reality I intend to miss.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes. Well, you must be Frida. How do you do? Come in, please.
Thank you.
Where's Mr. Daly? Didn't he meet you at the bus depot?
No.
Isn't that funny? He left ages ago. I'm surprised he missed you.
There were plenty of taxis.
Oh. I guess you'd like to see your room. It's back here.
Oh, no, thank you. First, the baby. I want more to see him.
He's asleep right now, but you can take a peek in a minute. This way? Here we are. I hope you'll find it comfortable.
Very nice. Everything.
Oh, your bathroom is over there.
Oh, and real flowers. Makes the room so gemütlich.
Oh, and your own TV set. Do you like to watch television?
Not so much anymore. They took off my program.
Oh, what was that?
Wrestling.
Wrestling?
The baby's in here. May I, please?
Oh, yes, of course. Oh. Hey, mister. You're supposed to be asleep. Yes, my darling.
Such a beautiful baby.
Cookie.
Even more beautiful than his papa. For 8 years, I was like his mama to Mr. Daly. Mutti, he called me.
Oh, I know. He's talked about you a lot. What a wonderful nurse his Mutti was. Yes. I think we're going to agree with him.
I am Mutti, my little Dixie.
Oh, that must be Dex. Dex, we're in the nursery.
Hi.
Hello,
How'd you get here?
By cab. I guess you missed her.
Well, I don't see how. I was there when the Bakersfield bus came in. I watched every passenger get off.
She's here with the baby.
Mutti!
Oh,
How good to see you.
Daly.
I looked all over for you. What happened?
Oh, I looked for you, too, but I think maybe my bus was early.
Well, I did, too, but I checked, and there was only one bus from Bakersfield this
You
morning.
probably just didn't recognize each other.
Oh, I'd recognize her anywhere. She's just as I remember her. You haven't changed a bit. Still the same old Muti.
Oh, I've changed. Too much coffee, Kuchen, you remember.
Do I? I haven't tasted anything like your cooking since. Oh, they just don't take care of me like that anymore.
Oh, poor neglected Dexter.
What do you think of our boy?
He's a darling baby. Ein kleiner Schnuckelpuss.
Schnuckelpuss. That's what you used to call me. Hi, Schnuckelpuss. Well, I guess if you could handle me, you ought to be able to take care of him for a couple of months by yourself.
Oh, you are going away, both?
Yeah. If everything works out all right, we're going to take a trip to Europe.
Oh, of course we wouldn't leave until you're all settled in and organized.
Oh, I'm sure that won't take long, Mrs. Daly. I'm so happy to have a little Dixie again.
You don't know how happy we are to have you with us, Frida.
Thank you.
Oh,
Made by Mutti with tender, loving care.
not for breakfast, please.
She'll be hurt.
Maybe later.
You asked for it. Anyway, she thinks you're too skinny. He needs some meat on his bones.
You mean flab. There's a time when I could have knocked off 2 of those without batting an eye. Not anymore.
Frida, what have you got there?
Little Dex's diapers. I'm going to wash them.
I thought I told you we have a diaper service.
Yes, but I canceled it. It's a waste of money, Mrs. Daly. I always like to do it myself.
Frida, would you please let me decide what's a waste of money? Call the diaper service and ask them to come as usual.
Yes, ma'am.
She's inclined to take a little too much on herself.
She meant well. After all, sweetie, you can't have it both ways. Either she takes over or she doesn't. And besides, if she wants to save me money...
Yes, but I think that's overdoing the old country frugality bit, don't you?
What's the matter, hon? Isn't it working with you two?
It's fine. No, really, Dex, she's wonderful. She really is. The baby's crazy about her. Well, I wish she'd stop calling him Dexy. Sounds like a girl or a riverboat gambler.
Well, it's not as bad as Junior. Besides, she called me Dexy, and it didn't seem to do me any harm. Say, how about a night on the town?
Oh.
Well, we've got a built-in babysitter worth her weight in gold. Why not get our money's worth?
Don't you think it's a little too soon?
Isn't that why we hired Frida?
Mm-hmm. You got a date?
Good.
What time you be home?
Well, I'll try to get away early. Why don't you plan to be ready about 6?
Okay.
Stay tuned for local news and weather. Charges and countercharges were violently exchanged at a city council meeting yesterday over the proposed freeway route through West Los Angeles. In San Francisco, violence of a different order is suspected in connection with the recent death of the 6-month-old son of Mr. and Mrs. George Callender. The discovery of a bottle containing an arsenic compound has led to a demand for the exhumation of the infant's body. In an interview with our reporter, Police Captain Martin Grauman explained that the child's nurse, an elderly woman of German origin, is being sought for questioning. Meanwhile, the parents...
What's with the radio?
I turned it off.
And anyone having knowledge of the person fitting this description should get in touch with the local police. Now for the weather. Partly cloudy, clearing tomorrow morning with temperatures in the high 70s.
Excuse me, I thought that you had finished breakfast.
Oh, that's all right. Just one for the road. Oh,
Now back to
he was
our-
tempted, but he didn't have time.
We'll keep.
Frida, Mr. Daly and I thought we'd go out for dinner tonight. Do you think you'll be all right?
Oh, yes, Mrs. Daly. Little Dex and I, we will be fine.
Good.
Oh, this is the way to live. No babysitter to drive home, no 4 o'clock feeding, huh? Oh, that's just what I need to soak up some. Oh, boy, nothing like having a nurse around to do everything for you. Sure takes a sting out of being a parent.
You are an unnatural father. Frida, what is it?
It's nothing, ma'am.
Then why is he screaming like that?
Oh, our little Dexter has a tummy ache, Mama.
Oh, no.
It's only a bad tummy ache, nothing else.
Did you take his temperature?
Yeah, he has a small fever.
Oh.
But with babies, that's nothing.
What do you mean, nothing? I've never heard him scream like that before. How long has he been like this?
Only a little while.
How long?
After his bottle, he sleeps good, and then he wakes up, and he has a clumpy.
A what?
A pain in his tummy.
I'm going to call the doctor.
But there's no need for the doctor. It's not serious.
I'm not asking for your advice, Frida. Little stinker scared the pants off us last night, and now look at him.
You haven't seen anything yet. They know every trick in the book. The object is to turn you prematurely gray. Your favorite was to roll over on your stomach. Hold your breath until you were blue in the face.
All right. Let's not give him any more ideas.
Oh, very neat, dear.
Please. Oh, thank you, Frida. Mother, this is Frida. Frida, this is my mother, Mrs. Landon.
Hello. You were Mr. Daly's nurse, too, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am. Excuse me. Shall I take him out for his nap now, Mrs. Daly?
Please, Frida. Frida was the only one who didn't panic last night. She said it was a cramphy, and a cramphy it was.
Excuse me.
What on earth is a cramphy?
A German tummy ache.
Oh.
And the doctor agreed with her. He wouldn't even come out to look at him. So she sat up with the baby all night long.
Well, you seem to have acquired an absolute jewel, dear.
I'm beginning to appreciate that.
Mine shouldn't get too bossy, though.
I think I nipped that in the bud.
Good. There's nothing worse than the overbearing ones. They get too possessive and end up hating you.
No, not Frida. Last night I was so panicked I nearly snapped her head off. She took it like a lamb, sat up with the baby all night, and when I told her you were coming this morning, she made this tort.
Very sweet. No calories, of course. It's delicious and pure disaster. Oh, well. 9 extra holes of golf should take care of it.
Oh, listen, Dexter says he's going to have to start playing handball again. Last night he ate half a coffee cake she'd made for him. She's really a menace.
Well, if that's all you have to worry about, you're in good shape. Did you read about that other darling German nanny up in San Francisco who fed the baby arsenic?
Oh, no, really? What happened?
The poor child died. The police found the bottle behind the dresser in the nurse's room. Enough arsenic to kill a dozen babies.
Oh, no.
I thought you'd have read about it, you know. I was really relieved when you told me you'd hired this Frida woman. I wasn't exactly looking forward to babysitting with Junior. Well, you and Dexter were gallivanting around Europe for 2 months on a tax-deductible trip.
Mother, you read my mind.
Hardly a feat to qualify us as a clairvoyant act, darling. If you hadn't have asked me, I'd have felt rejected, but I was relieved. It's delicious. I've got to stop. I'll have to order a whole new fall wardrobe.
Wait a minute now. You didn't finish your story about the nurse in San Francisco. What was her name?
Oh, some fairy tale name, Hansel and Gretel. Oh. No, it was Gretchen. That's it, Gretchen Reuter.
Well, did they catch her?
No. She seems to have disappeared, but they're still looking for her. Of course, they'll never catch her. Those ridiculous descriptions. 6-dish, German accent.
You know, that could be Frida.
Yes, or 1,000 other German nannies. Darling, it was delicious, but I've got to run. Give my love to Dexter, huh? And if she gets too bossy, I'll take her as a cook.
Oh, you will, huh? Bye, darling. Well, you're tort certainly made a hit with my mother.
I'm happy she liked my torte.
Matter of fact, she liked it so much, she'd like to steal you away just to cook for her.
I like to cook, but not to cook only. A house with no babies, not for Frida.
That's a relief. By the way, Frida, have you seen the morning paper? I can't seem to find it.
Oh, I used it to wrap up the garbage. I thought you were finished.
Oh, well, Mr. Daly will bring one home tonight.
I meant to ask you something, Mrs. Daly. When Mr. Daly was little, I used to give him ground steak sometimes. You know, raw. I scrape it good with a spoon. What do you think for little Dexy now, too?
Oh, I don't like to alter his diet without asking Dr. Beaumont first. But I'll check when he comes back from vacation. Frida, don't you think 4 months is a little young for raw meat?
It's very strengthening. There it is.
Why don't you ever listen to the radio, Frida?
I like it a bit quiet when I'm out here so I can hear if Dexy cries.
Oh, yes, of course, you're right. Always on the job, Frida. Oh, listen, that reminds me. I have to get your social security number so that I can declare you.
Declare me? Why must you declare me?
You make it sound like it's something terrible. Actually, it's only a matter of form. You know, if you let your Social Security lapse, you won't be eligible for pensions and things like that. It's for your own protection.
Oh, I protect myself, Mrs. Daly. I save my money. I ask help from nobody, not even the government.
Well, that's very admirable of you, Frida, but it's a matter of law. I have to declare you and pay half your taxes. Would you bring me your card when you're finished there, please?
I have no card. I never joined the Social Security.
Well, didn't your previous employers tell you?
They tell me, but I do nothing and they do nothing.
Well, I have to do something. I don't want to be put in the position of breaking the law, and I'm sure you don't either. I'll have to get you a card. Now, it's Frida Schmidt, isn't it? And your husband's name?
Heinrich.
Heinrich. And what was the name of your last employer?
Oh, now look, this mess. My last employer was Mrs. Müller.
Muller. M-U-E-L-L-E-R?
M-U-E-L-L-E-R.
And the first name?
Frank. Mr. and Mrs. Frank Müller.
And their address?
Bakersfield.
Could you be more specific? The name of the street?
I'm not so sure. These Americans' names, they are still very difficult for me.
Oh, come now, Frida, you must remember the name of the street. What was the address?
There is no street, just a big house near the highway. Oh, you excuse me, Mrs. Daly. Little Dexy wants his bottle and we go out for a little walk.
Just a minute, Frida. I seem to remember getting a Christmas card from you from San Francisco. Did you work there before going to Bakersfield?
No, ma'am. I never worked in San Francisco.
What are man's two greatest inventions?
I'll buy them both.
The wheel and the martini. Wheel gets you to work, and the martini gets you through the day. Say, honey, about my trip to New York tomorrow. You coming? I could stretch it through the weekend.
Oh, no sale.
Something wrong?
Dex, did you get a reference on Frida?
A reference on Frida? Mm-hmm. Well, it never occurred to me. She's like one of the family. What brought this on?
I don't know. Well, I was asking her where she'd worked before she came here, you know, for the Social Security thing.
Yeah?
She wouldn't tell me.
What do you mean she wouldn't tell you?
Said she couldn't remember the address.
Oh, she couldn't? Well, there's a slight difference.
Really? You don't believe that one can forget the address of a place where one worked and lived?
Well, that might depend on how long one worked and lived there, and how long ago.
And you didn't think to ask anything like that, or the name of the people she worked for, or how long?
Right. Right. I didn't ask because I didn't care. Try that.
An old German nurse you haven't heard from in 20 years calls you from out of the blue and says, do you happen to need a nurse, mein kleiner Schnuckelpuss? And Schnuckelpuss can't wait to make her one of the family.
What's this all about, Joyce?
This. Now, do you remember getting a Christmas card from Frida from San Francisco this year?
Do I have to swear to it?
Well, I would. Just look at this.
I saw it at breakfast. What about it?
What do you mean, what about it?
This is why you're not going to New York with me, isn't it?
He's sick again, ma'am. Maybe you'd better come.
For the strong, there is more to come. Our second half follows this word from a distant station.
Yeah, well, just pull this up here. Little old tummy acting up again, huh?
He's never had any trouble like this before, not twice in a few days.
Yeah, there's a virus going around. I think that's what hit him the other day. This could be just a flare-up. Shouldn't last more than, another 24 hours.
Why this all of a sudden? He was perfectly healthy until a week ago.
So were a lot of other babies and adults. Plenty of liquids and keep him warm.
Yes, Doctor.
Mrs. Daly, why don't you relax? Now you have an excellent nurse.
Thank you.
Let her do the worrying, huh?
I'll try to do that.
Oh, Dr. Rocco, how's the patient? Nothing wrong with his lungs.
I guess not. By this time tomorrow, he's going to be screaming for something to eat. I'll be at the hospital all day tomorrow, Mrs. Daly. You can leave any messages for me at my office.
Thank you, Doctor.
You bet.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
What's the trouble, son? Bellyache again? Is that what it is, huh? Why don't you quit bugging your mother? A bag packed, honey?
It's ready.
We ought to be going soon.
Oh, Dex, I don't like to leave him when he's like this.
Will you just drive me to the airport?
I know.
Okay, I'll drive myself then. Troublemaker. Oh, Frida, I'll be gone for a couple of days. Look after them, huh?
Don't you worry, Mr. Daly. I'll take him.
No. Just leave him there. He may go to sleep. Dex? Honey, you didn't say goodbye.
Didn't I?
Oh, oh, darling, I'm sorry I can't go with you.
Oh, the joys of parenthood. I can't wait till he starts with the measles and the mumps and the chicken pox.
Oh, now listen, if it was something like that, I wouldn't be such an idiot about it. It's this tummy thing. Nobody knows what it really is. Not even the doctor's sure. Oh, he's in such pain. Just listen to him. Oh, I wish Dr. Beaumont were back. I don't trust these cheerful fatherly types like Brock. Dex, I'm so worried.
Easy, sweetheart, easy. The kid's got a bellyache, that's all. I gotta go.
No, Dex.
I'll call you in the morning as soon as I find out what hotel I'm staying at. Honey, he'll be all right. Just rely on Frida. Goodbye.
Bye, dear. you doing? What is that?
Something I have for the crumpy.
I thought I told you never to give my baby anything without asking me.
It is what I give to all my little boys.
Well, you are not to give it to my little boy. Is that understood?
Yeah, it is understood.
Yes, I want to place a person-to-person call to Mrs. Frank Muller in Bakersfield, California. Mueller. No, I'm sorry, I don't have the number. You'll have to get it from information. Thank you. Please hurry. Yes, Frank Muller. Are you sure? No one by that name. Thank you. Operator, I want to place a call to the George Callender residence in San Francisco. I don't have the number. Thank you. Yes, George Callender. My number is 275-4124. I'll speak with anyone. That's it. Please connect me. Mrs. Callender?
I'm sorry. There's no one at home. I'm the maid.
Oh. Wouldn't you expect them back?
I'm not sure. Would you care to leave a message?
Yes. This is Mrs. Daly. I'm calling from Los Angeles. Oh, this is very important. Do you suppose you could have them call me as soon as they return? My number is 275-4124. It's about the German nurse. Hello? Yes, this is Mrs. Daly. Mrs. Callender?
No, this is Christine Callender. My brother and sister-in-law are out of town.
Oh. Oh, I see. Well, do you expect them back soon?
No, I'm afraid not. They've gone away for a rest.
Oh, yes, of course. This is rather urgent.
Well, perhaps I can help you. The message you left said something about a German nurse. Do you mean Gretchen Reuter?
Yes, well, she's going by a different name, but I really think that... I'm terribly afraid that woman is in my house.
What makes you think it's the same woman, Mrs. Daly?
I can't possibly explain it all over the phone, but I read the description in the newspaper, and she fits it. You see, she was my husband's nurse years ago. She came to work for us 2 weeks ago, and she's been acting very strangely, and... Well, my husband's away. I'm here alone with my baby, and that woman is...
Have you called the police, Mrs. Daly?
Well, I can't call them until I'm certain. Don't you see? That's why I called you. I have to be sure.
Yes, well, perhaps I can help you. I have a photo of her, one my brother took. It's not very good, but it might help.
Anything that might identify her, could you send it to me?
Yes, of course. I'll send it out mail special delivery. It ought to reach you sometime tomorrow. Meantime, Mrs. Daly, I would suggest you be very careful. You see, if this is the woman, she could be very dangerous. I wouldn't let her know that you suspect anything or that you're upset. You see, she's quite insane. Daly?
Yes.
I'm Christine Calendar.
Oh. Oh, yes, come in, please.
After I hung up, I got worried about you. All alone in this house with that woman. I thought I'd better come down myself. Where is she?
She's in her room. Oh, dear, I was so sure when I called you. Now I don't know. It just has to be her.
Well, if it isn't, we'll both feel rather foolish. Yeah? Is it?
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Frida! What are you doing? Mrs. Daly! But Mrs. Daly, let me out! Come on, darling. Here, go, sweetheart.
What happened?
I locked her in the closet.
Did you tell her I was here?
What am I going to do? What am I going to do? If only Dex were here. I guess I better call the police.
Here, let me do that. You look after the baby.
Oh, shh. No.
Operator? Get me the police. Hello? I'm calling for Mrs. Dexter Daly, 328 Ischia Drive. Mm-hmm. It's an emergency. I believe we have the woman who poisoned the Calendar baby in San Francisco. She's right here in the house. Yes. Will you send someone out immediately? Mm-hmm. Hurry, please. Well, now, all we need to do is wait for the police to get here.
No, son, no.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Look, shouldn't you have something?
What?
Is that coffee I smell? I'd love a cup, too, if it isn't too much trouble.
Of course. Forgive me, I'm sorry.
Here, let me take him. May I? Hey. What a darling. Mm.
I wish the police would get here.
Don't worry, my dear. Everything will work out. It always does.
You know, she was my husband's nurse for years. He always knew her as Frida Schmidt. Is her real name Gretchen Reuter or what?
Schmidt was her maiden name, I believe. Her husband was a Heinrich Reuter. That I know. Oh. She probably has two Christian names. They usually do. But Gretchen Reuter was the name on her Social Security card.
Oh, then she did have a Social Security card.
Mm-hmm.
How she lied. Do you know my husband would stake his life on her?
Men are like that, my dear. Just children.
Oh, here. Let me take him.
Such an adorable child. So tiny. What a wallop they pack in those little fists.
Hello, son. Yes, my baby. Yes. This must have been awful for your brother and his wife. Shouldn't you let them know?
Why, I thought I told you that George and Millie had gone off on a trip somewhere. They couldn't take any more. May I?
Of course.
So I don't blame them exactly. You can imagine what it was like at that house after the baby's death.
Oh, yes, I can. No, yes.
Millie was no help at all. She just fell apart.
Well, I can understand that, too.
Of course, I warned George that he couldn't rely on her. Never should have married her. You see, we were really very happy. Just the two of us living on in Daddy's house. George needed me to look after the place, and, of course, he took care of the financial worries. We were really quite happy, you see. And then she came along. I warned George that it was a mistake, that she was no good. But he wouldn't see it. He married her anyway. And then the baby came. It was sickening to watch them with that baby. The way they doted. The next thing she wanted was a nurse to look after the child. I objected strongly, of course. I reminded George of our own childhood with that dreadful woman that Daddy had hired to look after us.
A nurse?
Nurse? She was more a tyrant, really. We were both terrified of her. You see, Daddy was away a lot on business, and we had no one to turn to. She used to beat us. I told George he could never be sure about this Reuter person. She might be the same type. You see what happened? I was right.
How can anybody do a thing like that? Poison a baby. She'd have to really be insane, wouldn't she?
Insane? No. No, I don't think so. Not really. You'd be surprised. People hate to be pushed around. Even by those soft little hands. They look so innocent, but they can ruin your life. They are so innocent, and yet they are so powerful. It was because of him that they asked me to leave. Leave my own house, mind you. I was in the way. He was more important. Of course, I told George that I wouldn't leave, that I needed time to find my own home. He understood that. And then Nanny started telling the most dreadful stories about me. I'm sure she did. It was very unpleasant. It was then that George really asked me to leave. So you see what I mean about those tiny little fists and the harm they can do.
You hated the baby.
Hated? Oh, no. No, I didn't hate him. I couldn't have loved him more if he'd been mine.
But you just said...
Did you hear that?
No, what?
It's her. She's trying to get out.
I didn't hear anything.
We mustn't let her escape.
But she can't escape. I locked her in.
No, we can't take any chances, you see. We've got to be sure. You can't trust Nanny. She's apt to tell them the most terrible stories about me. And I can't have that. I've got to take care of her.
No, wait.
Wait.
No. Don't you think we should let the police handle it when they get here?
The police?
Yes.
Oh, no. Well, no. They'd be no good at all. They don't understand about things like this. Well, they might even let her go. Oh, no. No, I've got to handle Nanny by myself.
But they'll be here any minute.
No. No, they won't. They're not coming. I didn't call them. Not really. I was just pretending.
No, don't.
Oh, no, you mustn't try to stop me. I've got to talk to Nanny. Surely you must see that. I knew you were there, Nanny.
You did?
I've been looking for you for a long time, Nanny.
Well, now that you found me, you don't need that anymore. Do you?
No, but I won't let you tell Brother what I did.
What was that?
I hid that bottle in your room, Nanny. After you left, I had to, you see, because they didn't want me any longer. They wanted me to leave. Even George.
It was unkind.
No.
Give it to me. Christine?
No. No, you'll only punish me if I do.
I won't. I promise.
Cross your heart?
Cross my heart.
You won't tell Daddy?
Not a word.
Oh, no. No, I don't believe you. You don't love me. You don't love me. You love the baby. You all love the baby. Daddy! I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
All right, I'll stop it.
I hate you. No. No, you can't have it. It's mine. You made me do it. You made me do it. You all love the baby.
But the baby's gone now.
Oh, yes, he's gone.
So you must be good.
And then Daddy will love me again.
Yes, dear. And I love you. You know that.
Do you? Nanny? Really?
Yes.
I do. Oh, Nanny. Nanny, don't punish me. I didn't mean to be naughty.
I'm not going to punish you.
I'm sorry, Nanny.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Nani's here.
Our story ends happily for Frida and the Daly family. As for Christine, the authorities saw to it that she was placed in a sanitarium where she received psychiatric help. My own story has taken a turn for the better. I find I can face anything now. I have reached a new plateau of maturity. Next week we shall return with another story and more therapy.